right, many thanks for joining us for the first edition of the Kokoliriko live show for this week. My name is FARISH Majid, and it's a great pleasure having you on board this morning, watching us from all parts of the world. And this is the show, definitely where we shall be letting you know of so many things that could have happened in your absence and in your know. And definitely that happens here only on Western Television each and every Mondays. That is from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And also sometimes we do bring guests, and this is also really discuss and expound on some of the topics that could be trending that is on various media platforms. And also really due to also really demand, we also bring experts to also really talk on some of the topics that really we feel that you must also really have that is also knowledge on. And that is the reason as to why as Western Television each and every mornings right here we do bring for you those topics. And that is the reason as to why we are here. And that is also really when we shall be also really heading up to the hour of that's 9 o'clock. And after 9 o'clock, that is when the news bulletin in Lubarati with the Mukulia Lawrence will also be coming through. But nonetheless, it's a great pleasure having you on board, maybe watching us within West Nile Sub-region, Acholi, Lango, and parts of Karamoja, and in the entire northern Uganda. We do not take it slightly to also really appreciate and say thank you. And that is also really a reason as to why we are here to let you know of what is happening, that is across the globe. And for those of you also watching us maybe in central Uganda, in eastern, and not forgetting the other parts of also the country, for instance, western Uganda, we do not take it lightly. And I do understand that some people could be watching us in parts of Masindi, Bulisa, Hoima, that's in western Uganda, Fort Portal. We do not also really take it lightly. And we say thank you so much for watching Western Television. And this is definitely the show that will also really let you know of what is happening in the region. And really that is a reason as to why you must also really be part of the show. And we are going to be doing this with you up the hour of 9 o'clock. And remember, 9 o'clock will be our final destination. But nonetheless, I really once again want to appreciate you and say you are most welcome on board. And remember, it being a Monday, I must also really inform you that so many things could have happened that is right over the weekend. That is right from there. That is from Friday, because what we do on the show is we stretch that is way back to Friday, because our show ends on Friday. But we do not want to leave you uninformed of anything that could have happened that is also maybe over the weekend, and we do not take chances of leaving you uninformed. And definitely that is a reason as to why you must be part of the show. And that is also really when you will be getting to know of what is happening in the region. And definitely that also really tells us of maybe what prepared and how prepared you are. And remember, this week, this is also really when we are going to be having, that is the census week commencing, and so many issues have been also really said here and there. I do understand the stakeholders are now in preparation, and this is in final gear to also really see to that also really this exercise commences with a lot of success. And so many cultural entities are going to be engaged this week in the Royal City. I also want to inform you that this week we are going to be having a meeting that's of the cultural leaders, and that is also to ascertain and also prepare them. That is also really for the forthcoming, that is National Population Housing Census exercise. And that is also really a reason as to why we want to say all of you must be waiting for also what they want to also really know. And that is the reason as to why you will be able to also really now get to know. And it being the week, that is also really when we are going to be seeing the exercise commencing. Remember, it is a constitutional mandate for the citizens of this country to be counted. That is each and every 10 years. And we last had the census exercise, that is in 2014, where the population stood at around 33 million. And this year, we are also expecting the projections to be increasing. And that is already a reason as to why we are now saying you are going to be counted. And there's really a lot of confidentiality with the information. And the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as now we kick off officially with the show, has asked the citizens to give the right information and also the correct data about the information. And really, he called upon the citizens to give honest answers, that is to the enumerators who are going to be moving to their families. And remember, so many things are going to be happening. I don't understand that some people may also really opt to hide about their spouses. And this is also really a reason as to why we expect some of this information to be asked, that is in private, so that also really people get to give that is the right information. Because somebody who out there could be in a polygamous marriage when the family members are not aware, and the person would really want to also give up the information and feels, if at all he's going to be giving out this information, and that's also really in front of the family members, it would also really be able to bring challenges. And that is also, that could also really affect this person also giving that is the right information. And Head of State, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has now asked the citizens to give that is the honest answers to the people who are going to be also really carrying out the census. And that is also really a reason as to why we want to say you must give right answers. If you're having somebody out there, better tell them that really, you know what, my family members, I have this and that. Because we have seen people hiding their family members for years, and the family members only get to emerge after the person has died. That is also really during funerals. We say also really you need now to also prepare the family members. Let them be aware that there are other parts of the family members who are out and who are not within the homestead. Maybe they think that this could only be the only homestead, and that is the reason as to why we want to encourage people now start opening up. And the President, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, has urged all the people in Uganda to avail themselves for the National Population and Housing Census exercise, and also urged them to give correct answers, that's also to the enumerators, when they visit their homes for the exercise starting, that is May next Friday. And that's something we also want to say. We want to see also really it being official commenced. Because remember, 9th of May is actually the census night where the exercise will officially begin, and that's also really, and it will be also launched officially there. And that's also really the reason as to why we want to say each and everybody out there must be prepared for this exercise. And if you are not yet prepared for this exercise, we want to call upon you and say you must be prepared, because you are going to be counted, and this is for the betterment of the country, and it's not also maybe for any other reason, because government wants to ascertain how many citizens that the country has, and then that is also really a reason as to why they are going to also really budget in line to the, that is the population, and they want to also not base that is on rumors, and that is also really a reason as to why government wants to find out the exact number of people in the country, and so many people are going to be counted. And remember, the refugees are also really going to be counted. They're also really going to count other people who are also in different categories, and that's also really to ascertain the number of people who are living in this country. And the reason as to why the refugees are also really counted is because sometimes we also use the same facilities with them. Because if you will see what is happening in a rural regional referral hospital, this hospital is not limited to people who are coming maybe from Democratic Republic of Congo, who are living here as refugees, and then maybe those from South Sudan. And that is the reason as to why we are saying they must avail themselves for the exercise, and they must also ensure that they are counted, so that also the government of Uganda can also really approximately budget, that is also for the citizens across the country, so that also really each and everybody is catered for in the budget. Because if you are not also really going to avail yourself for the census exercise, I must remind that you are going to be infringing on the resources that we allocated for other people who are counted. And that's the reason as to why we are saying you must not shun the exercise. Because I do understand that some people who have already been campaigning the census exercise are saying they are going to be answering 180 questions, which is really a total lie. Because I do understand that each and everybody is going to be having their own set of questions, and where adults are going to have their own questions, and the children are also really as well going to have their own questions, and then those who are not married and those who are married, these are the questions that they're going to be asking. I really believe that is a reason as to why we must also really avail ourselves. The narrative that people are really going to be answering 180 questions, which has always been there, is a total lie. And this, remember, unlike the previous census exercise, this one is quite unique. It's going to be online, and this is also really a reason as to why we want to now say each and everybody must accord the necessary help. That is also to the enumerators, because the enumerator may move to your village and get out of power. If at all this will really come on board, you must also really avail them with the necessary help. And this is in terms of power. I do understand that they're going to be moving along with power banks, but really I want to say where the power banks fail. Give them the necessary information, give them the necessary assistance, that is in terms of power, so that also we make this exercise a success. And I do understand that they have been undergoing trainings, and now they have been empowered with the necessary skills. For those who have the power, the gadgets within your areas, I do understand that also as well, you have been given gadgets, and these are the smartphones, the tablets, the tablets plus power banks, which you now have in possession. And that is also a reason why we want to encourage each and everybody to be very, very much vigilant. Let them be very careful with these gadgets, and we do not want to see these gadgets breaking down or maybe being stolen by unscrupulous persons. And that is a reason as to why we want to say now we must also really be careful, and that is also really with the gadgets. Museveni said the information from the NPH will also really support the government, the private sector, and the cultural and religious institutions, as well as civil society developments that is in the country, that's in terms of service delivery. Earlier on, I was talking to you about today's meeting, which may not be able to go on today, but this week, that is also really going to be, that is attracting, that is the cultural leaders, and this is also really to encourage them to rally their subjects behind them to also really embrace the exercise. Because sometimes you don't understand that these cultural leaders, if they are not involved, definitely they may also opt, that is to the campaign exercise, which may also have negative repercussions. And that is why we are saying let each and everybody be part of also the census exercise so that we make it a success. And that is the reason as to why now the cultural leaders should be at the forefront of this exercise. And we want to see them also really take advantage of also really having the long masses. And these masses and the population, first of all, must also really be rallied. And they must tell the subjects that, you know what, the government of Uganda has a lot of challenges. That is in terms of budget. And that is the reason as to why you who is out there now, you must be part of that is the census exercise, so that also the resources that are going to be allocated to you are really enough. And the government of Uganda shall also really encourage you maybe also really to be part of the exercise. And that is the reason as to why we will also really want to see it a success. And the population census involves that counting of all persons within the territorial boundaries of a given state at a given period of time. And the count will capture both the numbers and characteristics of the persons. And recently population census also used for capturing the housing also really conditions of people, hence the name National Population Housing Census Exercise. And the census is all about persons, that is Ugandans, non-Ugandans, and who will also really have spent the night in the boundaries of the country. And that is also really where we are going to be seeing each and everybody who will be in the country by that time also really be counted in there. The census questionnaire will take that is the nationality of an individual as studied that is by the respondent. And so many issues have been surrounding the same matter. I do also understand that people have now also really been expressing concern. And now let's also move away from that story. Now let's see where it happened elsewhere, where police also really deferred interviews for about 2,500 police constables. And that's only something where we did see so many people applying, and it's now long overdue that these people are yet to do their interviews. And now because of census, the interviews have also been furthermore. And really this could not be well with some people out there, more so those who have been eagerly waiting to sort of maybe see that they can take part of this exercise and become police officers. And now we are saying let them be a little bit more patient. Maybe the government of Uganda is yet finalizing with the final process, and we want to see each and everybody now be part of that. And that is also really something that we also want to talk about, if at all we are going to make it a success. And this is also the interviews for the police constables which have been deferred, and we want to see maybe each and everybody be part of that interview. And really those who have applied, I do understand that the pressure could be more, but really we want to say you must be patient after police have deferred the recruitment process for probation constables due to the forthcoming National Population Housing Census exercise. And really want to say the time will come, and the 2024 National Population and Housing Census exercise, according to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, will run that's from May 10th. And remember, the exercise will officially begin as from 9th, and will be able to go like that until May 19th, and where May 9th is said to be the census night. And over 120,000 UBO staff will move door to door also to capture data from Ugandans. And government of Uganda announced May 10th as the public holiday to allow Ugandans stay in their homes, and also to allow Ugandans also their data to be captured. And that's also a reason as to why we are saying you must also be part of that. You must also maybe wait to have also that interview so that we make it a success. And the deputy police spokesperson, that's Miss Claire Nabaka, I said probation constables who are supposed to have interviews that from May 10th have been also shifted to May 11th, and the ones of May 11th have been shifted to May 12th, and the ones of May 12th have been shifted to the following day, which is May 13th. And however, Ms. Nabaka noted that dates of the interview from May 6th to May 9th remain unaffected, and that's only and will be able to go on as planned. And also police plans that's to recruit at least 2,500 probation constables who are aged between 18 to 23 to boost that is their manpower in the country. And the National Population Census takes place each and every 10 years, and this will be the first census to be digital, and also use that is also maybe digital means for collecting information, unlike paperwork where people used to come with the books and papers. And this also had its own challenges, where it coupled with the challenge of rain, it was really very, very much difficult, and really maybe unreadable handwritings of some UBOS enumerators. But this time round, each and everything is going to be digital, because we are moving towards a digital transformation, maybe in a digital world where we cannot run away from the fact that really going digital is the way to go. And really I believe at one time we also want to see the non-cash economy work, because that is also really something the government of Uganda has been talking very much on, and really we want to see it also really go on there as planned. But I believe at one time that will be a reality, but really nonetheless I want to call upon now each and everybody, more so those who have missed also, who are yet to undergo the interviews, let them be patient, because the days are not very far, and really if at all they have been pushed just by a day, then that means that also you will also still be part of that. And according to UBOS, the digital system will enable them to produce that is accurate and timely demographics and economic statistics, and that's something we also really want to talk about. And still related within police, I also want to inform you that over the weekend we did see that is a party of police officers going on, and I must say that was some colorful event where we did see police officers turning up in solidarity to also really hold a party for their colleague who is retiring from that is police force, that is Gaspar Onji Obingu, who is also who has been with the police for quite a long period of time, and now he is leaving, and the police officers couldn't want to see their former colleague, their former boss, their former mentor just leave police force like that without necessarily being accorded the necessary maybe party. And that is also where we did see the mega party going on. That is at the police workshop where so many police officers that also attended the event, more from the different ranks also gracing the event there. We also did see some officers that's from the sister security agencies also returning up. That is for the event where Josephine Anguchia, the police public relations officer, was part of the MCs and also part of the organizing committee in there. And I must say the event did go on colorful, where we did see also officers from UPDF gracing the event, and from other security agencies. UPDF was also in attendance, maybe also and other agencies and the RDC plus other also officers who have been working with in terms of security also really gracing the event in there. And I want to say it was a colorful event where we did see also really so many of this also coming up, and that's solely from where the officer rose. That is also really from police constable to also really in charge of also several entities, and that is also really a reason as to why the police officers couldn't just wish to see their colleague retire. That is also really from the force just like that, and that's something also really maybe let's see what exactly the leaders said in there. That would also really help us maybe understand what exactly transpired.
Let's call on G. Then on this will go for Sunday course. I just put on the Kokoro for 9 months. Then we started 1991. I put on it for 10 months. Then I was given the rank of head constable manager to assist in the managing Zambia barracks. I got SSP retired. Mongoya was Bossy Barracks. Very serious character. I have never worked under such supervisors. Because Mongoya was hugging me, just purposely, burn alcohol on me. But one day he asked me, "Do you drink?" I said, "Yes, sir. I drink." That is one of the good things God has given me. Very, very sincere and honest. I said, "Okay, if you drink, come to my place." I visited him. He gave me 2 bottles of beer. Then he told me, "When you drink only 1 liter, not more than that. 1 liter after 2 days. So that you are strong and fresh enough the next day." I take this advice. In our patch, of course I was young. I was 25 years old when I got the corporal. The senior PC in 1980 who crossed regimes disrespected me. He was actually transferred by the DPC to the police force in Aboke. But because he was loving a policewoman, the man became beheaded. So DPC, what I mean by it? To make sure that man is evicted and his properties are put in the pickup. The man decided to box me in front of the DPC. For us, we have seen it all. So as he was boxing me, I dozed and boxed my kofia down. I was very, very reactive when I was in youth. I dashed inside, picked the SMG, wanted to shoot his elbow. But Detective Sergeant Senna of CIA records disarmed me.
And everybody really had this feeling that he cannot just go quietly and rest at home. People started sharing their experiences they had with the former regional staff officer, West Nile region, the mentorship, the guidance, the advice, and so on. He really mentored many. That was when a decision was taken that at least we join together, we collect the little resources, join them together, and sit with our retired senior superintendent of police, Obingo Gaspar, the regional staff officer, so that we share experiences. We interact with him. He tells us how he was able to make it up to the end without any criminal record, so that we learn from him. At the same time, it will also give an opportunity for him to interact with us, to relax and share a few bites together, to listen to nice music together, some drinks, so that it becomes a memorable experience.
That we can learn from you and continue doing better this service that we do. And then for the officers, this is hope. And at one point, and what we should know that once you join, there is exit. There's entry and exit. So we must prepare for that, all of us. And in future, this is a request that this should not be the end. And in future we should, I know we are likely to have a number of retirees. But in future I think we should make something bigger than this, even for those that are below us.
I'm honored to be part of this very important occasion. Reason being that I'm one of those in the pipeline to retire also. Anytime I may also call people to come for my retirement function. It's a great day for you, our chief guest. You have gone through very many hurdles, I know. I want to thank God for having made it possible for you to attain the age of retirement and be able to join your family after having worked so hard for this country. We thank God for various reasons. We all know the work of security is not an easy one. We go through many hurdles. We have very many risks, especially in combat situations. If you are in operational position, you are likely to meet people who are ready to camp you out. So for you to reach retirement age may not easily be possible. Two, as already mentioned somewhere.
Alright, for whoever wants to retire with the party just like Obingu Onji Gaspar, then definitely your character very much matters. And that is also something I want to call upon each and everybody out there, not only within maybe the forces, but any other work where you could be a boss, maybe a big person, maybe also somebody who is not a boss, because I do understand that it is character also cuts across each and everybody, because you may be a junior staff, but your character also really very much matters. And that's also a reason as to why I want to call each and everybody now to be part of what we are calling upon also really good manners. And that's something I want to ask each and everybody to relate, why they must relate well with their fellow staff, so that also really once you are living, definitely people are going to be missing you. And that's what we call legacy. And then maybe how you have impacted on the lives of other people, because sometimes we do understand that some people do not want to relate with other staff members, and that is why we are saying your character at work very much matters. And that is something where the former staff of police, that's Obingo Onji Gaspar, will be able to be missed for. And that is something I also want to say, each and everybody out there, irrespective of what you do, not only maybe within the police force, you could be a business person, definitely your character matters. But sometimes when some people are leaving, definitely you see people jubilating, and they say, let him go, because let him or her go, because definitely that is because of your character. Maybe you could have been mistreating your fellow staff, and that is something I want to ask each and everybody out there, maybe who is a worker, to also ensure that they have that change towards. Because if you are not maybe working very much well with the public, and maybe those whom you lead, definitely at one time when your retirement time comes, definitely people are going to be jubilating. Maybe even if you get fired, people are going to be jubilating also really that. And that is something I want to call upon each and everybody now out there who is a boss to always ensure that their attitude and their characters towards fellow workers is very much also really well. And that is also something that they will be able to see how colorful maybe that party did go on, and where it was a surprise party where he didn't even contribute anything, and the people just contributed. That is because of that is the love for him there. And we also need to see the officers turning up. That is from there's different ranks also. That is because of also really their love for him, and none of them was paid. And that also tells us how good maybe he was. And that is something I want to call upon now. You is out there to always ensure that your character is also really very well. And with that, we come to our first break of the show, and this is the Kokoliriko live on Western Television. Stay tuned as we return back shortly from the commercial break.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
welcome back from that short commercial break, and it's still a great pleasure having you on board. That is watching to West Nile Television Kokoliriko Live Show, the first edition for this week, and it's a Monday. That is also really something I want to remind you of, and this is also really the month of that is the census. I do also really want to call upon each and everybody out there now to also be part of that exercise, and now that's something I also want to maybe call upon each and everybody that would also really help maybe the government of Uganda identify the population of the people, and that's also really something that we will also really be using, that is to also allocate resources, and that's something I also want to now call upon each and everybody out there also to be part for. That is also something I also want to say, at the end of the day, there's no monetary benefit. Maybe you who is also expecting money to be paid, because sometimes some of these government activities and people now expect money, and that is also really where the negative aspect of it all is coming, because each and everybody has been everything has been monetized. Well, that is also really where people, to give information, somebody also really will want money, and this we have seen this happening with so many research questionnaires also being answered where people want money before also giving information. And really, this is something I also want to say is for the government of Uganda. It is a mandate, it's a constitutional mandate that is for government of Uganda, and UBOS is an entity that is going to implement this, and where we also want to see now each and everybody out there must ensure they are counted, because if you're not going to be counted, then definitely I would not expect you to visit the social services that may be at your places. And this is also really something where at the end of the day, for those who are not counted, then definitely you are going to be the ones causing that shortages in these medical facilities. And then maybe where in schools, if the teachers are not enough, then definitely you must also really have contributed to that. And moving on from that, now let's see what is happening as we start off the discussion in our first quarter, and that's also really now second half of the first hour. And this is also something I want to say, where we did see West Nile leaders cautioned against politics of divisionism. And remember, we have so many members of parliament, but really sometimes we continue to grapple with challenges of poor infrastructure now, which has been attributed, that is to the disunity among some of the members of parliament who cannot ably speak the same language. And this is already something that has been also really attributed to several issues. For instance, if you were to compare West Nile sub-region to Acholi or Lango, you realize that these people are the same. And Lango MPs speak the same language, that's Lango, and the Acholi speak the same language, that is also already Acholi. And then for Karamoja MPs, still they speak, that is Karamojong. And if you move in Buganda, all the MPs there speak Luganda, and they speak the same language. And they're under the umbrella body, that's their caucus, Buganda Parliamentary Committee, you will realize that all of them are speaking the same language, and that's Luganda. And if you move to Western, this is also really where they speak some a bit of challenges. Maybe others speak Lutoro, others Lunyankole, and others speak Lutoro, but still, they still get to understand each other because they still belong the same category, that is Bantu. But move to West Nile sub-region, several people are speaking different languages. If you move to Madi sub-region, the MPs there are speaking in Madi. Move to Acholi, maybe Alur, sorry, you realize the MPs there are speaking Alur. Then come to West, the other parts of West Nile, we may be in Arua, you realize that these MPs speak totally different languages, and that is also really something at the end of the day that has been hampering. That's the unity amongst these MPs, and that's something now members of the public are saying there's need for these MPs to speak the same language, and the only language that can unite all of us is English, because our region has also been named in English, which some people have not been able to take it in good faith, where recently we did see other people advocating for the name to be changed. I don't know where and how it can also be changed, because we are an entity where we are speaking several languages. If you see what is happening in West Nile sub-region, in different parts, people are speaking different languages, and the only language that can unite us, I believe, is English. And that is also a reason as to why I want to say each and everybody, maybe the members of parliament, need to unite, that's such that also they can speak the same language and lobby for resources, because their lobbying capacity has been affected. Because if you really see what is happening, West Nile sub-region continues to lag behind, that is in terms of unstable power source, and the road that connects that is West Nile to Kampala, where we did see recently also the Karuma Bridge breaking down, is still also really another factor that where if our MPs united, that would also really be quite well. And this is something why I want to say, where each and everybody also really must ensure that they are part of also this exercise we are talking about. And this call was made, that was recently during a stakeholder meeting on Friday. That is also for the role of leaders in building that is also really local democracy, which was organized by the Greater North Parliamentary Session in collaboration with Clitadi, and also really with supporters from International Alert, which organized the half half-day also dialogue there themed under the role of leaders in building local democracy that did take place at a Desert Breeze Hotel, and where we did see a number of leaders also coming up to also address and talk about these matters. And we did see a number of issues being raised during that meeting in there. But I must inform you, it did go on well, where we did see a number of MPs not turning up, but with the exception of one, that is Obiga Mario Kania, who is also the State Minister for Lands and Urban Development, and I believe they could be also maybe aware, and that's something I want to say happened in there. But also Kania expressed dismay through the way which some members of the public also judge the MPs, because if you really see today, MPs have also a lot of tasks, and that's also why they could be running away from their constituencies, because as an MP, people expect you to attend all the burials. As an MP, people expect you to buy food at their homes. As an MP, people expect you to pay fees. That is for their daughters, and that is also a reason as to why we are saying that is quite unfortunate, because these are not all, maybe in any part and maybe in any way started that is as part of also the roles of the MPs, but the MPs have their sole role, that is also to make legislation, and also lobby for resources, and that's also where their mandates also go on. But where we are seeing people expected, where we are seeing people seeing people expecting a lot from the MPs, that is really quite unfortunate. And that's also something where we did see it coming out as part of the more so the issue of monetary politics and how it's going to impact, and that's on the final outcome. Definitely, I must inform you that this is going to affect, and also the kind of leaders that are going to be brought out definitely are those that are going to be also released by money, and that's something we did see also going on there, and where we also did see a Pastor Grace Lubega also coming up for this same engagement. He called upon the people of Western Sub-region, and also more so those who are living in the country to also at times appreciate the little the government of Uganda has done, more so in relation to that is infrastructure and also peace also there, because today we do have that stability. That's only something that, as the man of God also did ask the people of this region to appreciate. And moving on from that, now let's see what is happening. The Karuma Bridge has been closed. That is for a period of 3 months, and that's something we are seeing on the past this morning. And then this is something also I want to inform you, maybe who is to travel away from Western Sub-region, maybe to head elsewhere this week. Definitely the Karuma Bridge has been closed. That's for a period of 3 months, and that's only after the bridge is being examined. That is also for cracks, and because if you really see, we saw pictures of also the Karuma Bridge developing cracks, and this is also maybe because the lifespan of this bridge has been outlived, and that's also a reason as to why we are now expecting this bridge to be fully repaired and renovated and to be developed within the period, maybe the 3 months period in there. Because if you really see, due to the guardrails, which to me I really have also expressed concern of, where we are seeing the guardrails of this bridge being very much weak, where to a point, if there's an accident, maybe where if a vehicle loses control, definitely we see them plunging into the river, maybe also the waterfall in there, which has also really been quite unfortunate. And really we want to say, let the government of Uganda now take up the initiative of also really maybe developing the Karuma Bridge, just like maybe also the Pakwach Bridge, that would also really help avoid issues of vehicles plunging into the river. And I really want to say that is something also really we are yet following up on, and within the 3 months period we expect the works to be done. But definitely that is something at the end of the day which would also really want to show and paint an image for us to also really understand as to why we want to see that facility developed. And also really we have seen traffic diverted as government closes Karuma Bridge due to cracks in there, where lorries, trailers and buses traveling along Kampala-Gulu Highway have been diverted after government announced closure of also the Karuma Bridge that links northern Uganda, that is South Sudan, and also Democratic Republic of Congo, and only where vehicle passengers carrying up to that 28 occupants will be the ones to be allowed to use the Karuma Bridge. That is starting May 6th, 2024, and also according to UNRA, this is also something that we are going to be following up on. And for the vehicles that carry more than 28, then definitely the Pakwach Bridge, also maybe the Turupara, which is also the national park, is alternative road that you are going to be expected to be using. And the decision to close the 61-year-old bridge located that is 270 kilometers north of Kampala was after an assessment that led to the discovery of vast cracks at the work, also maybe at the facility there, and that is already something that called for the renovation works. And Karuma Bridge has been established some elements of crack, also bridge structure that concrete have also developed cracks, which have differed particularly on the Kampala approach lane, and the continued exposure of the bridge to have ever increasing, that's heavy trucks. Also the traffic is like likely to accelerate its deterioration and stability also in there. And this will require urgent interventions, as UNRWA has also commenced with works, and that's something they're going to be following up on. And motorists that is coming from Kampala heading to Gulu, that's Northwest Nile, have been advised that is to use Luero, Kafuma, Sindi, Para, Machichon Falls Road. That is already a short bridge where people have also been expressing concern because the others have been asked for money, which they did not also really take it in good faith. But now we are going to be seeing now them using that road, and also really motorists that's from Lira can use the alternative that is also Iganga, Nakalama, Tirinyi, Mpalisa, Kumi, Soroti, and that's Lira and vice versa road, and that's something also where the motorists have been advised to use those alternative roads. And the bridge had over the years become that's a death trap, with motorists also really losing control and plunging into the river, and that's something where we also expect now the facility to be developed. And a frequent traveler that's from West Nile, Mr. Saudi Asiku, told also Daily Monitor that they hope that transporters will not increase their fares because the routes are now much longer. But this is also really totally different, because I do understand that some people have often said the route that connects, that is the Machichon Falls, also through Machichon Falls, that the National Park also really is a bit very much shorter compared to this long route that is of Karuma, Kafu. Also, this is something also we want to say people must take advantage of. And last year, the passengers traveling from West Nile, we are also licensed by the charges along the Machichon Falls route, and floods also after floods also cut off, but that's Pakwach Bridge, and that's something we also want to see also taking advantage of, maybe the National Park Road, and that's something at the end of the day that would also be quite well. And remember, so many guidelines have been issued, among which includes no hooting, and also something we also want to inform people who are going to be using the facility to also avoid, because if you are going to be passing there and you hoot at the animals, then definitely you may also get yourself arrested, because that is really against the laws of the park. You are not going to be expected to hoot, that is the horns also really may as you are traveling. Then secondly, you're not expected to feed the animals. For those who are very much empathetic, maybe those who have a lot of sympathy, definitely we do not expect you to carry your bananas and throw these animals. You will be arrested as well. Definitely we expect you to also just move your way, because the duty to feed these animals is not your work, much as we know you also as somebody who is also empathetic. But definitely I want to call you upon to also really ensure that you do not feed these animals, so that you're not caught unawares, because you may also get caught unawares, and then definitely that would also lead you to facing the wrath of the laws. And that's something I also want to call upon you who is also going to be traveling via this facility to avoid, because if you are going to be feeding these animals, and then definitely you may also really see to yourself that you are also really caught up, and that's something at the end of the day that would also really be maybe getting you maybe caught up for. And must speed also, there are speed limits where all motorists have been urged that strictly adhere to the 40 km/h speed also within also the park, and failure to do also will also maybe lead the motorists being arrested. And that is something I also want to remind you of. And we also saying that no stopping to ensure also the safety of both wildlife and visitors. Unnecessary parks within the facility is also not allowed, because you may also want to see animals in the park. Then a lion may take advantage of you, and then definitely that is also why government of Uganda came up with the rule of no stopping at the facility. And then entry fees, please know that all vehicles entering Machichon Falls National Park will also be expected and required to pay a fee. That's also those who are going to be using the facility. Definitely that's something I want to remind you of, so that also you are not caught up on where speed limits. For instance, the issue about speed, where we expected to ride, that is to drive that is within 40 km/h speed, and that's something you should be able to sort of take advantage of. And then no littering. For those who are carrying garbage, you are not expected to throw the garbage anyhowly. And then restricted driving areas, you are not expected to drive in some facilities which have also been earmarked as no driving areas. And that is something I also want to call upon you also really as out there to avoid, because if you are told you are not going to abide by these rules, and then definitely you may also get caught up on fares. And that's something I also want to remind you of at the end of the day, so that also you are not caught up unawares. And that's something which takes us to another story. Let's now see what is happening elsewhere. As schools have been tipped on managing leadership transition, that's also another story that we are seeing on the past morning. And remember, so many schools at times when we see the leaders leaving, it becomes definitely hard for those who are coming up on board also to maybe take up in the schools. And that's also where schools have been tipped. That is also to prepare for transition. And this is also something I believe is very well, because sometimes you realize some schools are doing well, and when a certain head teacher comes and the schools are grappling and also really finding it difficult, we see some teachers moving away. At the end of the day, the performance of the schools goes very much low. And this is quite common with top leaders, and also for instance the headmasters and deputies. And that's also something where I want to call upon now the schools, more so those within West Nile sub-region, to always prepare for. Because if you are not going to be prepared, that is for transition, then definitely you could be able to be affected by that at the end of the day, which will not be very, very well. And the Commissioner for Secondary Education, Ms. Juliet Tuhaire Muzora, says the managing leadership, that's also institution transitions can be challenging at the institution levels, but advises that teamwork can help the schools also handle the progress without pressing unnecessary gaps. And that's something also we also want to talk about, because sometimes after the head teacher has been transferred or after them retiring, it becomes very, very much difficult for those who are incoming to maybe also take up the mantle from where their predecessors are living. And that is only where now government of Uganda is advising them to always be prepared for that. And how to be prepared, teamwork is always the way to go. And at one time also a school may expect challenges that is the top leadership, including positions, including that of a head teacher, but these also really changes call for teamwork, good mentorship, and learning to work with everybody despite different backgrounds. And something also we want to talk about, because sometimes these teachers may not be able to solely accord the environment to this incoming head teacher. And that is solely something where we have seen issues of strike emerging. We have also seen scenarios where community members have rejected. That is also really some of the teachers, and that's something I want to remind you of, so that also really we take advantage of what is happening elsewhere. And Ms. Atuaire, who also recently assumed the office of that Commissioner for Secondary Education at the Ministry of Education and Sports, and promotion from head teacher to position at Buriwenyanga Girls Secondary School, a caution stakeholder and DJSS against also forming cliques, and instead of also really emphasize the value of teamwork. And this is something where we have seen sometimes the teachers failing for, because you as a new teacher, and then definitely maybe those whom you expect to rally behind you are the same for the campaigning, and then there it becomes very much difficult for you. And Luero District Education Manager, that's Ms. Florence Bossa, told stakeholders that the education also really, that the district local government and the education office in Luero also really cherish the values, academic standards, and community social responsibility that have been made by DJSS remaining a top also learning institution there. And that's something we also want to call upon now. Each and every other school, maybe in Western Sub-Region, to also really embrace the issue of also maybe academic giants. Also, that's where we want to see the schools topping. That is also really the districts and also really topping the nation in there. And this was also really something that where we did see it happen also in DJSS, where Reverend Canon Eric Sevigaju, the Luero Diocesan Secretary, who represented Bishop also really Wilson Tseka, said the church-founded schools have clear objectives. That is to ensure that learners and all stakeholders uphold Christian values, and while also helping to build a good future for the young generation in there. And DJSS is among the 23 government-aided secondary schools under Luero Catholic Diocese, and also who served also as the teacher. And that's something also we want to remind you of. And Canon Dr. that's Charles Kahingiza, who served as the school teacher, reached the mandatory also age of 60 years on May 4th, and the government in collaboration with the school also the foundation church body also appointed, that's Mr. Balaba Senkungu, as the new teacher, that's who got transferred from Luero Secondary School in there. And this is something also we want to say must also really ensure that it goes on well, because sometimes where we also see these schools failing, and the reason is quite clear, it is because some stakeholders may not be able to solely rally behind these facilities. And that's something we are also talking about this morning, and really want to remind you of, because if at all you are not going to support these cities, and then our schools will continue to lag behind. And that's the reason as to why now we also really want to say each and everybody must ensure that they are part of this exercise, so that also really nobody is left behind. Because if you're going to maybe not going to support this incoming teacher, then definitely we expect nothing from them. That is only failure. Because if at all we want to see maybe these teachers, maybe these different people also get advantage of maybe the environment, definitely first of all we must create them that humble environment which is quite accommodative, and that would also really help them also in doing their work. And that's something I want to remind you of as we continue with the show. And now moving on from that topic, let's see what is happening elsewhere, where President Museveni also to probe that crooks in security for mistreating, that is musician Lucky Boss Mikotim, who is on from northern Uganda. That's something at all I want to remind you of, because if at all maybe we don't talk about this, then definitely we are not doing a great service to ourselves. And then definitely that's something at the end of the day we want to see it maybe transitioning very well. And that's something that did happen also recently. Remember on Mondays like this, we also stretch that is way back to Friday, and that's also in terms of also giving you what happens over the weekend. And that's something at the end of the day which will be quite well, and if at all I'm to remind you of, and then that is also something at the end of the day we are seeing on the past this morning reported where President Museveni, His Excellency, also is set to also probe, that is also the crooks who also did take part, that is in security for mistreating, that is musician Lucky Boss Mikotib. That's something now we are following up on. And then definitely, are these people going to be brought to book? Because sometimes investigations are done, but definitely nothing much is done. Really, are we going to be seeing Lucky Boss Mikotib getting also justice? Definitely, at the end of the day, that is what we are expecting. But really, on some of the stories that we are seeing reported on this morning, that is already something that we have also seen. Because if you really see what happened, Lucky Boss Mikotib has always been an activist, that's of human rights. We have also seen him also really talking about several other issues also being maybe affecting the region here and there, and at the end of the day that could have also really landed him in trouble. And then wrath of some of the security agencies, where we're now seeing President Museveni on Saturday vowed also to probe security operatives he described as also the crooks for allegedly mistreating Gulu-based also musician and the politician also Lucky Boss Mikotib, who has been on the run since that is April 2022 on allegations of illegal possession of firearms. And that's something also we are talking about this morning, where also we are expecting justice for him. However, Money Security broke backs, that is music stars around Bobby Wine and Mr. Otim has since April 2022 been on the run. That's after officials from chieftains of military intelligence and Uganda police force have been hunting for him over allegations of possession of firearms, which are said to be illegal there. And this is something also I want to remind you of. And if you remember, in November 2022, Brigadier Boni Boyamisweka, the commander of that UPDF 4th Division, headquarters that's in Gulu City, said they have given that Mr. Tim amnesty and also to ensure that he returns back. And November 2022, Brigadier Boni Bamisweka said the commander of UPDF 4th Division headquarters that's in Gulu City said they have given Tim, and that's to tell him to come back, where they did ask him to come back and call him and tell him to come back. That this is to our country and no one will harass him again. And really this so let the public not scare him, and that because that they saw him carrying a gun, that means treason in there, because so many people in public have not been also carrying hiding. That's something where they did also ask Mr. Tim to come back. Mr. Tim's trouble started, that is 3 days after the death of late former Speaker of Parliament, that is Jacob Olanya. In a song, Mr. Tim questioned the death of Olanya and urged the public also to rise up and save the nation and sons of daughters of Acholi, whom he claimed were dying mysteriously while also serving the government. And at the burial of Olanya, the security directive was also issued to officers to arrest Otim on site amid fears that he could also turn up and cause unnecessary drama. And on realizing that he was also wanted, Mr. Otim fled Uganda to a country that we yet do not know. But Otim's controversies before the UPDF also intervention, Mr. Otim has also been posting pictures and videos recording himself on social media while posing with different types of guns and clad in military fatigues. In the first video, which we did see him recording, we saw seen recording holding an AK-47 rifle, which also did go viral in there. And this is something at the end of the day which could have been termed as treason. And AK-47 rifles were threatening to carry out on that's revenge on the people he alleges have been used to kill us actually in there. And the recording sparked controversy over the source of military fatigues and guns, where so many people were asking themselves where he could have gotten these items from. And then definitely that also led the man to running away from the country. And so many issues have been said about the same matter, where people have been saying that people of northern Uganda were not wanted, and that's already as a reason as to why we didn't see them getting killed for us. And that's something at the end of the day which may not be right, because as much as we did see now people from this region getting dead. But definitely that's something I want to remind you of. As we get to finalize the first hour with, I want to remind you of so many issues happening and coming up, and of which I also cannot also really skip reminding you of the National Population Census exercise, which is due to kick off with 9th of May being the census night, which is also this Sunday here. And remember, Monday will be a holiday for those who are out there, because that day has been gazetted as a public holiday. And definitely we do not expect you to carry your books, maybe carry your suits to go to offices. Definitely that is something that could be very much bad for you. Unlike us who are here to serve you, because as much as if it being a public holiday, that does not limit us to come and serve you and tell you of what is happening. For us, we are here to keep you informed at all times. And then definitely that is also really a reason as to why we say we are always committed to informing you. And for those who are watching us, maybe right now joining us, we say welcome aboard. And our final destination remains 9 o'clock. And so many issues have been discussed on the show as well, and we still have lots more to come your way. And remember, that is also really something at the end of the day, that is going to keep you informed, because we are here to do that, and definitely you must also be part of that. And remember, so many issues have been happening across the region. That is right from Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Definitely, this is also where we keep you informed. And remember, in the world of sports, so many issues have also been happening, and I will be able to inform you later on in the show. That's something at the end of the day I want to remind you to be part of. And for now, let's first continue with the show, and just to remind you, so many issues have been happening, and if I can be able to sort of inform you of maybe some of the issues happening, and then definitely that could be quite well. This is also maybe happening in your areas. And remember, we are going to be having so many issues, and also if we can also maybe head in for a short commercial break, that would be quite well, as we get to continue with the other stories later on. For now, let's first have this short commercial breather, and we bounce back with lots more on the show. My name is FARISH MAJID. Stay tuned to the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile Television, channel 477 on StarTimes, and online on Facebook. And for those of you also watching us via YouTube, we say thank you so much. You can drop your comments in there, and I will be able to also go through them later on. To watch our live from DRC, I can see your comment. Thank you so much for watching West Nile Television as always, and we remain committed to keeping you and everybody out there informed of what is happening in the region. And for those of you watching us maybe via YouTube, you can also still drop your comments in there, and remember, you will always be getting to know of what is happening in West Nile sub-region. Definitely that happens and not elsewhere, but only on West Nile Television, because our #1 goal remains, that is to keep informed, and also that is also to enlighten the region. And definitely we are not going to be doing that alone, and me and you have a part to play. That's in enlighten the region. For now, let's first have this short commercial breather, and we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
National Population and Housing Census 2024 is here. Uganda is to conduct the Census 2024 this May to update our population status that will support government to plan for every citizen. The numeration team is in the field to respond to all the necessary interests by you and me as they register all of us. Note that the census night is 9th May 2024. Let us all be part of this exercise by working with the numerators, provide correct data and information. This exercise is to assist the government in planning government resources properly, provide efficient service delivery, and the formulation of national policies. The numeration will start on the 10th to 19th, 2024, and the counting will be done at our homes or places of residence. The Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial breather. We are back into our second hour of the show. We are just 3 minutes after 8 o'clock, and my name is FARISH Majid. And from wherever you are watching us from, we say you are most welcome aboard. And always, it's a great pleasure having you on board, watching us. That is right from that's the hour of 7 o'clock until 9 a.m. And after 9 a.m., that's when the news bulletin in Lubarati will be coming through with Mukulia Lawrence. And that's also a reason as to why we want to remind you to always be part of the show. And that is something that brings us, that is to the evening of the show. And remember, we still have lots more that we are going to be discussing with you after the hour of 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock remains our final destination. And if I can be maybe briefly remind you of, remember on Friday we did have, that is also the celebrations, that is of World Press Freedom Day going on. And this is also where we did see journalists maybe from also across the country have been also called upon to also be part of also the environment fight, because the theme for this year also touches that aspect of environment. That's also environment preservation and protection in there. And that's something at the end of the day we say must also ensure that it is also taken care of, because if at all you are not going to maybe take care of the environment, definitely the issue of maybe taking care of the environment may also lag behind, because if at all we are not taking care of the environment, then definitely that is something at the end of the day which could be able to affect us all. And in some places we did see the celebrations also going on, and where we did see also our colleagues that is also across maybe the other parts of the region also planting trees and cleaning the city also, and the districts also where they are residing in. And that's something I also want to remind you of, where we did see also this event going on. And this is something we did see also where the police fraternity were also getting certificates of recognition that's for good cooperation and coexistence with the media. And this also in Kabale, where we did see the mains, also the event taking place at the mains stadium, which was officially also graced by the Minister for Presidency, that's Millie Babalanda, also already going on there. And this is something I must say was quite well, and at the end of the day we also want to see all these activities going on very well as planned. And this is at the end of the day something that is going to also help the country, that is also really improve on the relationship more so, which has been far-fetched between more the security agencies and media practitioners, where we have also seen sometimes journalists being beaten brutally also really by some of the security agencies there at the end of the day, which has not been very well. And that's something I want to say now with the also maybe the recognition we expect now journalists to be respected, because a journalist is not a terrorist. A journalist is just that's performing the duty that is also really of informing the masses, that's also really holding the readers accountable, that is on behalf of the security agencies. And that's something also at the end of the day I want to remind you of, to be part of, because if at all you are not going to maybe take advantage of also that, and maybe if you are going to be beating the journalists, that is not going to be quite well. And that's also a country where we are seeing also journalists' rights not being respected. Definitely that is also really something that could be able to also be very bad, because at the end of the day we want to see each and everybody's rights being respected, because if at all people's rights are not respected, then definitely at the end of the day that is something which would also really be very much bad. And that's something also really I want to remind you of as we get to continue with the show. Now let's see what is happening more so within the education institutions. That is also really at Muni, where we did see also the launch of that an ICT hub, where the government of Uganda has inaugurated. That's an information communication technology hub that is also really at Muni University, aimed at addressing the challenge and the issue of animal theft. And also I believe that is something that will also be quite well. And for many years, livestock farmers in the Western sub-region and other parts of Uganda have also really plagued that's by frequent cases of animal theft, and it has also been difficult for security personnel to track down the culprits. And that's something that is going to be history now. That's with the launch and also really the official unveiling of the facility. And however, the new innovation called ANIMTRACK also is hope that is to provide digital solutions that is also to assist that is also really in the apprehension of these thieves, and also really recover some of these stolen animals. And also really this is something we are going to be seeing it going on. And during the hub's launch, that's on Friday evening, Mr. Dennis Asiku, the graduate student of computer science at the university, also really stated that our innovation is called ANITRIM, and it is a digital solution to mitigate animal theft that is in Uganda. And we want to bring a digital solution in order to aid that is recovery of stolen animals. And that's something also really we did see the university students, also really graduates, also really talking about. That's at the facility. And Mr. Asiku and his colleagues are among the group of students who have received 10 million from the University Research Hub, that is to develop also the prototype but also the development also require funding also to scale up. Also, that's something we did see going on there. Dr. Armin Azawedi, Department Secretary in the Ministry of Information and National Technology and National Guidance, praised the innovation, saying that without it, communities' livelihoods could be improved, and that's something also at the end of the day we expect now that facility to be also really doing its quite a job well, and that's as also planned. And Dr. Robert Kajobe, the Directorate of Training, Research and Innovation at Moon University, said that the facility has been also has the capacity to serve both the Congolese and South Sudanese, given that the region also now hosts nearly half of the asylum seekers in the country. And furthermore, as part of also the innovation, senior 2 students from Moon Girls Secondary School are producing soya milk and also soya milk yogurt from soya beans in there, and that's something at the end of the day which also really help that's also really aiming to promote innovation. And if you really see, the government of Uganda has also an initiative where we've seen the president of Uganda talking very much about science, and the reason as to why he's always talking about science and innovation is because it is not going to also really keep people behind, unlike also really where people also want to depend on history and maybe other issues. We are saying we also want to see, much as we want to see history, because the leaders can be produced through history. We also want to see innovations, and that is also really where the government of Uganda is doing whatever it takes to also really promote science and innovations among these learners in there. And also Miss Gloria Marcia, a student from that same institute, college, also really explained that they came up with the idea because of malnutrition, because these girls also really have a lot to do, and also we expect now them to also really, that is also really help the government in that is discoveries, which at the end of the day will help that grapple also address the challenge of malnutrition. Because if you really see malnutrition, definitely you will be able to realize that malnutrition still remains a great challenge, where so many children are dying, at least where we're seeing at least a child dying as a result of malnutrition there. And she added that soya milk is a lactose-free, infection also really free alternative to milk, and that's something also really where we are seeing that also really going on. And the hub can also house that's up to 56 innovators and is open to students and innovators from the region. And that's something at the end of the day we want to see it going on, which would also really maybe help produce more innovators and also really more people who are innovative, which at the end of the day is going to address some of these challenges which government has been facing. For instance, the issue of what I just did talk about recently, that is also the issue of malnutrition, which still remains a great concern, which also needs to be done and maybe also be assisted there. Now let's move away from that. Let's see now what is happening where I already see once government jobs thanks, that is for UPE products. This is also really another story that we are seeing on the this morning. The Bushenyi Resident District Commissioner, Mr. Robert Atuhaire, has asked some government jobs, that's for graduates of universal primary education and universal secondary education, also will be reinvested there as a way of motivating learners to also maybe embrace the schools. And according to Mr. Tuere, after studying at UP and USC schools, after and finally graduating from, young people fail to get jobs, and yet they also told to study and get jobs in future. And that's something also where I did also express that concern in there. And currently UP beneficiaries face significant competition. That's from more privileged individuals who have also gotten better opportunities. And that's something where we also expect maybe justice also for the UP students, because sometimes you really realize that UP students also compete very, very much with learners from private schools, where the private learners also have been performing very well, and that also really has been posing a great challenge for those products of UPE schools also to access the jobs and get the jobs in there. But we are saying, much as you are also really maybe that UPE schools, we are all products of UPE schools, but we are here, and that should also really be an indication for you, maybe who is studying deep down in Zombo, deep down in Madiokolo, deep down in Terego, deep down in Maracha, deep down in Moyo, deep down in Ajumani, and thinking that you cannot be able to make it because you are also competing with learners in private schools. We are saying definitely you also still can attain and achieve what you want to become, and you also still can become who you want to become. Definitely that is something at the end of the day which would also be quite well. And arguing that UP has reached a success, Mr. Tuere asked the consideration of UP graduates in the job market also to be considered there, and should also be done in quarter basis and to have many of them absorbed. And adding that this could also address the unemployment challenges, where we have seen products of UPE schools also really very, very much finding it difficult to get also be employed in there, because sometimes they are competing with those learners from the private schools who have gotten themselves the good grades. And that's also something at the end of the day I also want to side with the RDC also of Bushenyi there. And the chairperson of Bushenyi district, Mr. Jafar Basaja Balaba, highlighted the challenges that UPE schools also programs face, including as poor policy also design their staff accommodation and storage of scholastic materials, among others, which at the end of the day also really affects that is performance of these learners. And you really realize that the teachers also sometimes go through a lot. That is in terms of infrastructure, where the staffing houses are not there. But at the end of the day, they have to produce, that is the good grades, which also have to compete with those who are from the private schools. And despite the challenges, Mr. Apollo Lee Katukonge, the Western Ankole Civil Society Forum, engaged citizens to support the UP and USC programs, which have also really increased that literacy levels in Uganda. And he, however, challenged the government to do more by improving also the state of classrooms and providing sufficient funding for the program, also to continue helping Ugandans fight illiteracy in there. And the Fireplace Conversation session aimed at to discuss the achievements, lessons and challenges at the UPE programs, which has been running for 27 years since establishment in 1997. And remember, this is also really something where we have seen where the government of Uganda and the world at large, under the Millennium Development Goals, aims at also really to improve that is access to education by the year 2030. And also really this is something also really we are getting closer to, and that's also really the reason as to why the government of Uganda came up with what we call the universal primary education and also the universal secondary education. That is to also really increase access, that is also really to education there among people. And that's something also really at the end of the day I want to remind you of, that is also really there to see to it that each and everybody is not left out. That is also really in terms of also really the issue of access to education, because nobody is expected to really remain behind, and sort of lag behind. Also really in this generation where we are talking about education today, we do not expect anybody to also really stay behind and so be left out. And to avoid all those, we are saying you must also really now be part of what we call embracing education, because without education, usually we say education is the future of each and everybody, but really we also want to call upon you now to always ensure that if you have access to education, much as also really you are claiming that you're old. We have seen people graduating from universities at the age of 60s. Definitely that is also something we want to see it happening, because each and every time we have been seeing UNEP examinations going on, at least we have seen people above the age of 15. That means that there is no limit for education. You can still go back to school at any time, and that's something at the end of the day which will be quite well, more so for those who are yet out there claiming and still wondering of what school is exactly, and a reason as to why they still staying home is really not quite supported. Moving on from that, Kampala border leaders graduated from Patriotism Development course, and remember recently we did see Office of the President appointing assistant RDCs in the different local governments, where we did see 360 individuals getting the jobs as assistant also RDCs in the different local governments. And among the tasks for which they got charged is the issue of patriotism, because if at all you do not love your country, and then definitely you are going to be the one to steal maybe from the country. And that's also really one issue we have been talking about, first of all with corruption, where so many people have been said that is that they are engaging in corruption because they do not love their country. How true is that? And then definitely you also really can still share your opinions with us on the comment section. Is it also really necessary for people to be also really rallied behind? Is that the way to go? Are we going to be seeing this yielding fruits? Because a government of Uganda also really brought on this evil, first of all to charge them with the issue of patriotism, and secondly also really rallying people for government support, and also really to support government programs, and also that is also really something that they were also really promoted for. And lastly, they were also charged with the issue of fighting corruption at the different local governments. And that's something at the end of the day we want to say they also we have seen them doing, and also recommencing. And we have seen Job Richard Matua, the assistant resident city commissioner, that is also really in charge of Central Division, and now taking his work seriously. We have seen him moving to the different schools, and also recently I did accompany him to Arabic Secondary School and Mvara SS, together with other leaders, and also together with his colleague Ngompodi, they have been also really doing that. Also the issue of wanting to bring that is also really patriotism to them among the masses, and that is already something at the end of the day I believe will be quite well. And at least 372 border leaders from Kampala metropolitan area have completed a 1-week patriotism development course. That is at Oliver Regnal Tembo Leadership School in Kawegweta, that's Nakaseke district. And during the graduation ceremony, presented over by President Museveni, the importance of patriotism in promoting prosperity, peace and Pan-Africanism were emphasized. And that's something where we have seen the President very much talking about the issue of that is prosperity, peace, and also Pan-Africanism, because we have known the head of state also really others as a Pan-Africanist, because we have seen him also loving the neighbors, and this is also really clearly manifested by where we have seen our soldiers are being deployed to also really bring peace in the other areas. And that is something at the end of the day we also say he is a patriot for, and that's something we have also seen him, and that's why a reason as to why we always describe him as a Pan-Africanist. And during the graduation ceremony presided over by the head of state, President Museveni, emphasized the importance of patriotism in promoting prosperity, peace, and also Pan-Africanism. That's the function action there. Museveni highlighted government initiatives such as Operation Wealth Creation and Myoga, urging the border leaders also to embrace entrepreneurship for socio-economic transformation, because poverty has been identified as one of the key concerns that have been creating that's unemployment and also the insecurity in the country, and also that is now a reason as to why these border leaders were taken for that course. And the Minister for President Emilio Babalanda acknowledged the pivotal role of border riders in also maintaining peace and emphasized their daily interactions with public. Also that is also something where we've seen the border riders also being at times also being suspected as beggars, or what we call them as spies, because sometimes they start up with discussions and some people feel these border riders also really are spies and maybe to state, and that's also a reason as to why sometimes some people do not want to open up with the borders. You realize that some people do not also want to see the border riders taking them up their homes, and that's also really something we say definitely could not be true, because at all we want to see border riders working together with the security agencies. We have scenarios where we have seen border riders also really helping the security agencies curb crime. For instance, also really during issues of shootings, we have seen the border riders trailing and running after the assassins, where we have seen also them at times trying their best. Recently, we did see one where we did see them arresting the killers of Bosa, the Ndiga clan leader, who was gunned down by one. One of them was actually got killed, and really others also really were also arrested there. And now they are facing also charges as the cases continue to be investigated in there. And the successful completion of the patriotism development course and also underscores the commitment that of Kampala metropolitan area border riders also to contribute, that is, to national transformation. Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense and Military Spokesman, also confirmed this, and that's something also at the end of the day we also really want to remind you of. And still within security, security detonates 4 improvised explosives in Kampala. This is only another story that we are seeing on the post this morning, and joint security forces have detonated, that is, 4 improvised explosive devices that we are also recovered from a rented house in Quarter Zone in Kamomboga in Kawempe Division, that is in Kampala district also there. And IEDs we recovered that in the wee hours of Saturday morning or after locals tip security of suspicious persons who had also come and rented a house, also single room, that's in the area in there. And this is also really where we are saying we must work with security, and that's also really something at the end of the day that will be quite well, and that will also really assist the security agencies in doing their work there. And the landlord also got suspicious after realizing that the new tenants we are not returning to sleep in the house and alerted security in there. And this is something where we call for vigilance. If at all you also really think that the people who are renting within your facilities are not also rightful, give the information to LC1 chairpersons so that the investigations in these matters are also considered. And that's really where I want to call upon the LCs also to be very much serious with what kind of work to do. You must identify whoever is coming to your area as a new person, and that's the reason as to why these people must ensure that they report to the LCs so that they investigate and thorough background checks are done, so that also really unscrupulous persons don't also really get to infiltrate our societies. And also we did see also that also happening after this was also getting arrested there. By 7 a.m. on Saturday, various security agencies, including the police bomb squad, special also forces command, G80, and operatives of the defense and intelligence security, formerly also known as CMI, headed by that Major General James also already Birunji, also arrived at the scene and also to carry out that investigation. And they said the house inside, also the single room house, was a small mattress and several other items, including 3 metallic casings in which there were also 3 IEDs, while also the fourth was also 1 bucket where we did also see this issue going on. There were also 3 feature phones that's also connected to 2 cells, and also a pistol magazine that also got impounded in there. And he said the metallic casings were also to act as fragments. And where we also did see Brigadier Kulaija said also the operation is a combination of arrests also as made that's target ADF also assassins, also those who collaborate with them in the country and outside. He said the IEDs were said to be detonated at 4 separate targets, which are yet also to be known. Adding that the ADF commander in charge of the group responsible for the explosive is Medi, also Nkalwo, also known as the Punisher in there. And that's something also we are talking about at the end of the day. We also want to see it also being also addressed in there, because the issue of security is our role as citizens, because the issue of security that does not also rely in the hands of maybe the security agencies also all, but you as the viewer definitely has more to do. And the development comes at the back also drop of an alert that's solely by the Defense Intelligence Security, also from another CMI, as part of the 2 months also the investigation of the suspects in there. And that's something at the end of the day we also want to see maybe it be addressed. And the operation also has been seen several top ADF commanders and fighters either get killed or be captured, and several catches of firearms also already being seized in there. And the operation nickname, that's Operation Suja, is a security word also for bravery, was also led to also this rescue of several abductees, whereas also several ADF camps also got destroyed, and as the group also disappeared. Because if you see what is happening, most of the times when we see as bad activity happening in the country, we very much rush to say it is the ADF. But really, when shall we also get these ADF officers being arrested? At the end of the day, that is also something we are expecting, because we want to see security. We also want to see our learners who are always getting killed, because recently we did see attacks, that's in Kasese, where so many children also got killed. In Busia, we also did see the same scenario, and really to avoid this happening maybe across the country, definitely the issue of addressing the security concern is very much paramount, and that calls for our concerted efforts. We have to work together. If at all you are seeing somebody whom you don't also really think that what they're doing is very much right, we must also really raise the concern to the security agencies so that security can carry out its investigations into the matter. And President Museveni recently said if it is these splinter groups that have been hit, that's hard, by DRC crossing back into Uganda and cause havoc. And that's already something over the years we have seen also really. The head of state are talking very much about that, and that is something also we want to continue with the discussions with, and so many issues will also be coming through later on. And remember, over the days where we have been seeing several videos also circulating on social media, and one of which was of a student and the dead who was also already seen also arriving in a chopper, and this has also raised concern where so many people have been also having a lot of issues about the same matter, where others have said a lot of issues. I really know for those who have seen the video, maybe who have seen platforms on social media, definitely you could have also known the video that we are talking about, where a student of Elite High School in Tebe arrived with a date on a helicopter, and this is after spending a lot of money, and this is for the prom date, and definitely where we have seen education officials now one over the school probed over the prom party in there. Mr. says also such extravagance and lavish expenditure also to promote immorality and prepare a corrupt generation. That's something where we did see these students also really arriving at that party, and this has also drawn mixed reactions from the members of the public, where we are seeing these students also really going for their prom parties. And this is something also really I want to encourage our learners, much as we are talking about the extravagance bit of it all. We also do not expect people to be arriving also with chopper. Besides the chopper, we did see expensive cars. Where did these students get these cars from? And then definitely that's something where we also want to raise our questions. Maybe our concerns before, because this school also, we didn't see that party going on, and this is something that also that did not maybe only happen with the school we're talking about, because so many schools we have seen also them doing that, because partly we also did have the same party also elsewhere. And this is something also we want to say, the issue about the lavish expenditure is where the concern has been very much bad. What about the expensive cars? Definitely these are things that also really we want to also talk about, because if we don't talk about this, then definitely, as we are talking about patriotism, definitely this generation could be also really that could be prepared for corruption, and which would also really come with its own negative repercussions. Now let's move away from that. Let's see what is happening where farmers motorists mount pressure. That's over the 4.5 kilometer Nebi to Erusi Road. Also really, this is something also we are talking about, because our roads more so in Western Sub-region continue to grapple also being the dilapidated status, and who exactly is supposed to develop these roads. These are things that also we are yet following up on, and residents, especially farmers and motorists, that is from bordering areas of Erusi and Oweko and part of DRC, have tasked the Nebi Municipality Authority to prioritize grading the road that's of Erusi Nebi Road, which has also been in the municipality plans for a long period of time, and it has now appeared that the road has been neglected, and this is also really after the road also fails to be developed in there. These are also some things at times where we are seeing concerns on, because some of these roads are UNRA roads, and others are local government roads, others are sub-county roads, and the entire responsibility of developing these roads entirely lies into the hands of the stakeholders. But really, who is to ensure that these roads are developed? Then the government is very much key, and that's already something also really at the end of the day, as we are talking about the status of the roads, let's also ensure that we also really part of maybe protecting these roads, so that also really at the end of the day we can also really promote what we want, because these roads are going to be in that status, and who exactly is to develop them? Definitely definitely it is our maybe government, and that's something where we also want to see, as we are much as we're talking about the Nebi-Erusi Road, what about the Moyo Ajuman Road that was already being earmarked for planning, where we didn't see the contractors taking up or maybe the development? How long is it going to be taking? Because these roads need to be developed, because if at all these roads are not developed, definitely this trade is going to be affected. Other people who may also want to benefit from the roads are definitely going to be lagging behind, which at the end of the day may not be very, very well. And really also, if the government of Uganda can also prioritize developing the road that's over Arua Kampala Pakwach Highway, that would also really be quite well, because this is also another road. Recently I did travel to a road district that is in parts of Arivu, where I must inform you that the road is really not in quite good a shape, because really the road is very much bad, and really roads around also really Dreamland Hotel, you realize that this road is really quite bad, and for those who are using the small cars, they have really to slow down their speed, and this is quite unfortunate, because really if that road is not developed, then definitely we will continue to talk about this road that needs to be developed. But really, if nothing is done, then definitely people will give up, and trade will also really be affected in there, and at the end of the day, that will also come with its own negative repercussions because of poverty, for instance, poverty and other neglected issues which also may not be quite well. And this is something also really I want to say we must also really ensure that we take advantage of, and that is something at the end of the day I will be able to so really talk about. And donors support that Supreme project to improve on service delivery is also really something that we are talking about this morning. And during a closed meeting of By Rural Initiative for Community Development Empowerment, abbreviated as RISE at Lefori Town Council headquarters, donors have been asked to support the security protection and economic also empowerment project, abbreviated as Supreme, in their invest in environmental protection and improve on road networks so as to link the farmers to prepare to the markets. And this is also something I did talk to you about, that it's going to be affected, because if at all that is also something we are also living neglected, then definitely trade will also be affected, and that will not be quite well, more so for those who may also really want to take advantage of this facility in there. And that's something also I want to remind you of as we prepare to head in for another short commercial break with a minute to that is 8:30, which is something that will also be ushering us into our final discussion. And as always, we summarize discussions with what is happening in the world of sports, and this is something I will be able to talk about later on. But really, if I can be able to remind you of, and remember at 9 o'clock we shall be having news bulletin Lubarati with Mukulia Lawrence. But before that, allow me to remind you of the census, and this entire week I will be talking about census. This is also to keep you informed and also to keep you reminded, so that also you are not maybe forgetting about the census exercise, which is also there to ascertain the number of people in the country, and this is also to help government also plan. And remember, cultural institutions also must also be taking advantage of that, because Parliament has now also passed also where the cultural institutions are going to be getting money for themselves. And this is also something at the end of the day we want to see it happening, because if you will see what is happening with some of the cultural institutions, I wouldn't know much to mention names, others are still grappling with challenges of leadership, and this is quite unfortunate, because at a time where we are also expecting now some of these cultural institutions now to be getting money, others are still fighting of who is to be the next king. That is really quite unfortunate, where also the constitution being amended, because really these are things that really we want to see end, because we want to see unity, we want to see champion, we want to see the leaders championing. That's the issue of real unity. That would also really be quite unfortunate, quite well for us, and that would also really help bring in development, because the cultural leaders have a role to play, because sometimes the subjects listen to the cultural leaders are very much more than the government officials, and that's also really where we also want to see them be part of the census exercise. And that does bring us also to 8:30 as we head for this short commercial break. Stay tuned to Western Television.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from a short commercial break. We are back into the evening of the show, and our final destination remains 9 o'clock. But before we get to give you that, if I can briefly maybe go through some of your the comments, I can see Engamvile Alfred Raul saying he's watching us live from Tarasab County in Marata District. We say thank you so much for watching us all day from that part. And we also have Sitaku Emmanuel saying, wow, he's watching us live from UCU Mukono. We say thank you so much, and I did not forget also to watch our semi and ardent viewer of the show. As always, also really still very much plugged in on the show. And we are still continuing with the hour, that is with the show, up to the hour of that's 9 o'clock. And before we get to give you that, so many issues have been happening, and if you can briefly maybe inform you of maybe some of the issues that could be have maybe happened in there. We also really seeing how financial woes are affecting some corporations in Pakwach district. Also really that is also another story that we are seeing on the paper this morning, and really where many circles in Pakwach district have been reported as to be poorly managed with inadequate financial controls and lack of transparency. And this was revealed by Mr. Charles Musua, an economist also really, who says which causes varied also because also maybe concerns of varied also fraud, where that's simply mismanaged into oblivion. And that's also something also we want to talk about, because the issues related to financial literacy, because sometimes really people join circles with the aim of also really wanting to take advantage of others, which is really quite unfortunate, because much as those who are willing to join the circles think about their life to come, because they want to use the circles to save for their monies, which they're going to use for their families at the end of the day. But where we are seeing people solely taking advantage of such people, it is really quite unfortunate. And that's also really where I want to say government of Uganda needs to arrest such people, maybe take advantage of these people who also really join circles, because circles, I believe, play a very much role. Because if we see what is happening among the society, where women who are not working today, they are part of also the circles, they are getting a lot of money, is also really getting it saved for their families in there, which is also really quite well. But really where we are seeing people taking advantage of such circles, definitely it is really quite unfortunate. And for those who are borrowing money from these circles, we expect to refund the monies back. So that's already those colleagues who have also really invested their money in there can also really use the monies at the end of the month, maybe at the end of the saving period. Also really, that is also something I want to remind you of this morning. As we continue with the show, remember so many issues have been going on as we continue with the show. Recently, there are quite many issues that have been going on, and really, if I can maybe briefly let you know of what is happening elsewhere. The Anglican Church is not affected is really another story that we are seeing on the past morning, where Catholic, Orthodox, and churches also face shortage of mass wine, and this is something we are seeing on the past morning, where the Anglican Church remains unaffected, while other churches, also the other faiths, also really are now affected by shortage of wines in there. That means that we have to plant more grapes, more so in other areas where this plant can be able to grow on, because grape is actually what is used for producing these wines in there. And moving on from that, now let's see what is happening, where Indian and Prime Minister Netanyahu says ending Gaza war would not also keep Hamas in power. That is already something at the end of the day we are seeing on the past morning, reported in there, where the Prime Minister of India, Benjamin Netanyahu, has had in his rejection that's of Hamas demands for an end that's to Gaza war. In exchange, that's for also really the freeing of hostages, saying on also really saying on Sunday that would keep the Palestinian Islamist group also in power, and had opposed also to threat to Israel in there. And Netanyahu said Israel was willing to pause that's fighting in Gaza in order to also secure the release of hostages still being held. That is by Hamas, believed to be also at a number of about 130. And this is something we did see the Indian Prime Minister also talking about. And in Cairo, Hamas leaders held a second day of trust talks with Egyptian authority and Qatari mediators with no apparent progress, reported as the group also maintained its demand and that any agreement must also end the war in Gaza, Palestinian officials said. And this is something we did see happening in there. And the war which began, that's on an assault by Hamas on southern Israel on October 7th, in which at least 1,200 people are said to have killed and 252 hostages taken, according to Israeli also tallies in there. And Israel's also ensuring military offensive has also killed more than 34,600 Palestinians. And according to the health ministry, that's at Hamas also ruled in there. The bombardment has devastated much of the coastal enclave and also really affected the humanitarian crisis in there. And this is also something we want to say. We must always cherish peace, and that's something at the end of the day, war is never a solution, because really you realize that war is not good, because war also really destroys a lot of properties where lives are lost, which at the end of the day is not very much well. That's something we also want to talk about, as also really maybe for all those who are out there must also always ensure, because if you're told you are not going to be maybe ensured, maybe you take part in the peace, definitely you also could be able to be affected by what we're talking about, because if at all, definitely you may also not be able to also really take advantage of that, then that definitely could be very much bad for you who is maybe watching us right now. But as we get to continue with the show, so many issues have been happening right across West Nile sub-region. Definitely, if I can be maybe briefly inform you of what is happening, then definitely that could be quite well and good. Because if at all you are maybe living out there and definitely you don't know what is happening in West Nile sub-region, then definitely that could be very, very much bad for you. And remember, West Nile Television is here to keep you informed of what is happening right on, maybe right from West Nile, because definitely you would be able not to get this information anywhere. Definitely that is also really a reason as to why you should be watching West Nile Kokoliriko live show each and every mornings right from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And my name is FARISH Majid, and as usual at times we bring guests also to discuss on some of the topics that really we feel you need to also to be part of, and that is also really here on West Nile Television. Remember, it being a Monday, we talk, that is also really issues right, that's from way back on Friday. And remember, it being a week, it being a fresh new week, over the weekend so many issues could have transpired in the world of sports, and that is certainly something I want to remind you of, because really, definitely, so many games did go on, where we did see also the finals, that is also really between Arua City also really going on yesterday, between Arua City and Airfield, where the game also really ended also really in favor of Arua, also Arua Airfield in there, after beating Arua City also really there. That is something I will be able to sort of talk to you much about. And now, as we get to continue with the show, now let's see what happened elsewhere, starting it right off. That's from the regional league, where we did see also really so many games going on, because it being a Monday, right from Friday, we did see a lot of games also really going on. Maybe some of the games that you could be interested in, if I can be briefly maybe remind you of, we did see Leah City also really surviving relegation after their 4-1 win also against Arua City in there. We did also see Leah, this is also something also we did see going on, and remember, this is also something at the end of the day that keeps Leah City also really, the hopes of survival, because we did see the team also really after being at the red mark for quite a long period of time, and after bringing back their coach, that is after bringing up Mr. Olema Hamza, the games also changed in there, and where he started picking up games, after beating some teams up to 8 goals, after 7 goals, after 4 really, where we did also see the team also picking draw in his reign there. And yesterday the team also did go on, that's to beat Pajobi United by 1-0, and this keeps Leah City also, their hopes also really are safe. Now they have survived relegation, and this is something at the end of the day I feel you need also to be part of one. And maybe if you can be briefly also touch some of the games that did go on yesterday for Big League. We did see Police also edging also really Chetme by 5-0. We did see Lugazi playing a goalless draw with Kataka Football Club. Meanwhile, our also side, Calvary Football Club also did go on to beat Blacks Power, another side from Northern Uganda, by 1-0. Boma also did go on to beat also Chiinda Boys by 3-1. Meanwhile, Karo Karunji also picked a crucial win over Chigezi Homeboys. That is also really a 1-0. Jinja North was able to also really lose, that is in hands of Young Elephants. Also really the game ended, that is also really in there, and this keeps also the teams, Calvary Football Club also really hopes of surviving still fresh and alive in there, and that's something at the end of the day you should also really be a part of. And really, if I can maybe remind you of what happened in the world of English Premier League, on Friday we did see one game on card that was between Luton Town and Everton, and the game ended in a 1-1 draw. And this is something I must also remind you of, because Everton, so many people are saying that they would be relegated after their points also being docked in there. At one time we also did see the points being returned, and also saw more points also being chopped, and definitely that's something at the end of the day which also made some people think that the team would be relegated. And remember, this is a team that also, and this is the only team that got promoted the English Premier League and has never been relegated. And this is something also we are talking about, maybe also really, for those who are out there. This is maybe some people think that this is the time now for them to be relegated, and that's also just like Arsenal Football Club, I believe, also really has never been relegated. And this is something at the end of the day I also want to remind you of, maybe also that's in relation to Everton Football Club in there. And on Saturday we also did see games going on, where we did see the determinant games also really going on, more so between Arsenal and Bournemouth, where the game ended 3-0 in favor of Arsenal Football Club. Brentford also played a goalless draw with Fulham. Burnley was also really able to also really lose, that is Newcastle by 4-1 also in there. Meanwhile, Sheffield United also lost, that's Nottingham Forest by 3-1. Meanwhile, also in that big game that was between Manchester City and Wolves, the game ended 5-1, which was in favor of that's Manchester City. And yesterday we also did see some games going on, and this is also in the world also because we are here to touch each and every aspect of life. We are also not going to exclude anything, and maybe that is also a reason as to why you should be always part of Western Television, because definitely you are going to be knowing that information you want. And trust me, you may not be able to get the information elsewhere, but only on Western Television, because we touch and we cut across each and every aspect of life. And that's also a reason as to why you should be always watching Western Television, because really, if maybe you not also really maybe watch Western Television, you are going to be lagging behind. And tonight there will be a game that's between Crystal Palace and Manchester United. I don't know how the game will be able to go on, but I believe Manchester United at this time round could do something, because really so many people have been saying that the team is not performing very well, much as they have done enough. I believe the game will be able to go on in favor of Manchester United tonight. I don't know what you think, but definitely Linda Susie together with Owen Zaga will be here through. That is also take you through with whistle time. That's from the hour of 2 to 3 p.m. and they will be able to maybe tell you of what exactly happened. Maybe some of the games that I didn't also leave out, and this is also the results they will be giving to you here as maybe part of the comprehensive analysis also of the show here. Remember, whistle time comes through each and every Monday, Saturdays, and this is from the hour of 2 to 3 p.m. They will be here, and especially I want to thank you who also watched us right from the time we began until this hour of the morning as we come to a closer and the climax of the show. And remember, this show comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, right from that is 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock with me, FARISH MAJID. And really, if I can be able to sort of remind you of so many programs will also be coming through in the due course of the day. But but really, the one which is coming closer after here is the news bulletin in Lubarati with Mukulia Lawrence. Stay tuned. For those who are watching us via StarTimes, that is channel 477 from across the world, maybe across the part of the country. We say thank you so much, maybe where you chose to watch us from. For those of you who watched us maybe in the parts of Alub sub-region, we say thank you. Those who watch us from Madi sub-region, we say thank you so much as well. Not forgetting those who watched us from Acholi, Lango, Buganda, Ankole, and not forgetting also the parts of also Teso, because we do understand some people could be watching us all the way from that part of the region, and we say thank you so much. And for those of you who watched us online, maybe across the parts of the world, in Europe, in the Saudi also areas in there, we say thank you so much, because we do understand that some also ardent viewers are watching us from the Gulf region, areas of Saudi Arabia, Qatar. We say thank you so much. We are here to keep you informed of what is happening way back home, and that also tells a reason as to why you must always watch Western Television. But for now, it's a time for me to come and step out and also let also the next person come in. And really, I want to thank you and wish yourselves a great day and a great week as well.